What's up, YouTube? This is the Atrium Abyss bringing you my first Wi-Fi battle. Yeah, I had this battle like months ago, and I know everyone's doing black and white, but I decided to do this 4th gen battle because it's actually my 100th win Wi-Fi, like on SoulSilver. So I thought, hey, what would make for a better video? This is a battle I had against my friend TehWhiteTiger, who's an awesome battler. You should go sub to him. He's also British, which is a plus, and he narrates his battles, also a plus. So yeah, it's a 10-minute long video, but I sped it up to 3 times instead of 2 times because it would have been way longer than it is now. So I'm gonna do some narrating, but it's gonna be a little rushed because there's not much time for me to be able to do anything between movesets. So yeah, let's get this battle started. I lead off with Hippowdon. He leads off with Swampert. Pretty typical OU leads. We both set up rocks, because you know rocks rape teams as they switch in. And then he ice beams me, which does decent chunk because I'm physically invested. I get frozen by a thought and I roar him into an Umbreon. I know Umbreons can touch Hippowdons outside of maybe toxicking them, but even if he does, I have a heal better on my team, so I'm not really all that worried. He just yawns me instead, and I'm like, okay then. That gives me one last turn, and he switches out into a Floatzel, which I promptly roar out because I predicted it, but then I roar him out into a Shaman, which scares the living shit out of me. I mean, I love Shaman, but they scare me when I have to fight them. He Seeds flares me and hits my Blissey right in the face with its seed. Luckily, it didn't hit her in a place that would impregnate her, but still, she's covered in seed, and that's not good. I switch her out into my Celebi, which takes out the seed, Lotus seed in its face, but yeah, it's resistant. But now I get the -2 defense drop, just like what I did with Blissey a little while ago, which I didn't point out. He switches back out into his Umbreon while I Perish Song. And, you know, Perish Song. So his Umbreon's going to be switched out or he's going to die in 3 turns. I heal Bell up to get rid of the status effect on my Hippowdon. While he sets up a wish. Perish Song's on 2. I recover this turn to get myself back to full health, and then he paybacks, which does a decent chunk because, you know, stab and all that, 100 base power. There's Sandstorm. I switch out. I send back in my Hippowdon because it's the safest bet. But he also switches out into his Floatzel, which I know I could probably take any waterfall it wants to throw at me, but you know I just don't want to take any damage. So I switch out into my Fortress, and it takes an Ice Punch to the face, and it's like, haha, who gave you the cold shoulder? And he switches out into Miss Magius while I set up a layer of Toxic Spikes, and you know, Fortress being physically defensive and not specially, I'm not gonna leave him in there to take any special hits. So I switch out into my Blissey while he sets up a substitute. So I'm like, ooh, sub Common or sub Nasty Plot. Either or is horrible and bad for this team to have to face. Sets up a Nasty Plot, which in a sense makes me kind of glad because I know it's not going to be raising up its special defense. At the same time, it makes me scared because it makes it double as deadly as a Calm Mindset. He sets up a second Nasty Plot, and at this point I'm getting kind of afraid. I set up Gravity because that's what this team is based around, Gravity. Because, you know, we're the Gravity Children and all that. And he Thunderbolts me, which, even after a +4 special attack boost, it's not going to be doing a heck of a whole lot because, you know, it's Bliss, and Bliss is a freaking special beast. Sets up a third Nasty Plot, and now at this point I am extremely scared. Because if this thing breaks through my Blissey, the rest of my team is screwed. None of them could take special hits all that well. Thunderbolts me again, and it nearly KOs, but I managed to survive and get a Thunder off. And it brings it down to close enough HP that Sandstorm is able to finish it off. Now he sends in his Flygon, which gets poisoned due to gravity, and landing on Toxic Spikes. I switch out, expecting the Outrage or the Earthquake, and knowing that my Fortress could take either or, But he gets a crit, which really matters because I know I can survive 3 earthquakes from a Flygon. He earthquakes again, gets the KO, and yeah, there's poison right there. And I send back in Hippowdon, which could take earthquakes all day and just throw them back at your face. I just roar it out into a Floatzel, and now Floatzel's poisoned. There's Sandstorm poisons doing good damage. It waterfalls. I just stay there and take it. Not wanting to predict really, because I know I can take whatever he wants to throw. And I slack off, and it gives me back up to near full HP. And which after poison and sand, his dude's about near dead. Switches in his Swampert, which gets poisoned, while I switch out into my Celebi, because I was expecting another waterfall. But double switch is good. Alright, there's the poison damage. He switches out into his Dark Knight, which also gets poisoned. And I Leech Seed it. So now I got the triple factor going. Leech, Poison, Sand. A deadly combination. On the right circumstances, my Celebi can outstall practically anything if I can get these 3 things up at the same time. He gets a payback off, which does a pretty decent chunk. But seeing as I'm getting lefties and Leech Seed recovery, it's looking like about an 8-hit KO. And I have recover, so yeah. He gets a Yawn off, which I'm not very afraid of because I have Heal Bell and I have Natural Cure. Wait, Heal Bell wouldn't help because I'd be asleep. I can't use it. Oh, you know what I mean. I got Natural Cure. So I switch out. I go into my Hippowdon, and he yawns again. Pretty good prediction, because he knew I'd be switching eventually. Or maybe he just clicked that out of sheer desperation. I don't know. But either way, his Umbreon is dead Umbreon, which kind of made me sad because you know I love Umbreons. And then comes in Shaman, which gets freaking poison. Then he hidden powers me to the face, and I switched into a Blissey just to take the hit. It's death fodder. Then I switch into my Dusknoir, and he switches out because he's stuck in hidden power fighting. And then he goes into Jet, which takes Stealth Walk, and then I Nightshade it to the face, and Jet dies. Then comes in Draco again. I know I can live 1 Outrage, no problem. So he goes with it again, and I get a Nightshade off, just to get 100 HP damage off on that thing. Will it down some. Poison takes care of some more. And I switch back into my Hippowdon to take another Outrage. But then he gets another crit, which really mattered because I could take Outrages all day long. Because it's Hippowdon. Hippowdon's a freaking physical beast. And then I survive the second Outrage with 13 HP, and it allows me to get the Slack off. And then Poison kills him, and I get Lefty's recovery, and I'm up to 241 HP. And then comes in Shaman again, which gets poisoned. Again, I switch into Dusknoir as Death Fodder, so I can get some poison damage off on it without letting something switch in freely. So I then send in my Celebi, which I could take Seed Flares like a champ and not worry. I don't get that special defense drop, which made me happy, and I get my recovery off. And Shaman dies. And then finally in comes in his Swampert, which I set a Leech Seed up on because Sandstorm's not going to be doing any damage to it. He does Ice Beam, which does a good chunk, I guess. And so I get the Leech Seed HP thing back. I set up a Parashon because I don't want to have the Toxic Leech Seed stall this thing to death. Though in retrospect, it probably is going to be finishing it off right around the same time anyway, so yeah, whatever. Just to buy time and get some moves off. There's Poison. I recover. Gets an Ice Beam off. Sandstorm. Get some HP back. Lefties. There's Leech Seed. Well, you might as well start saying my goodbyes, seeing as you guys know how this is gonna end. Peace out. Hope you guys enjoyed this battle. I know expect more from me. It's mostly gonna be black and white because no one nowadays really does Gen 4 matches. But I'm open to both of them. So comment, rate, subscribe, and tell me how I did my first narration. Tell me on things I should or should not do for the next one. And tell me whether or not you like this quality or should I try using a different focus. So yeah, peace out. Oh wait, there's still some time left. Do the la 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 la.